out there today, gets the nod, and the relief he must feel after all the build-up to finally get climbing.
Yeah, very exciting. I absolutely love watching John Won Chong in finals. He's so expressive and such an amazing athlete. It's always a good experience.
It is, and he's found a real run of form this year. He's climbing well, so that's the boulder problem that we were talking about, but he made it look pretty simple, to be fair to him. He was 11th in Brixton in our last comp. Can he improve on that? 4th is his best this year in Salt Lake City. As he comes up with the left hand into the zone. But you've got to control that properly. He will get the scoring zone for that. And an easy start on your right, across through straight away for Jung Won Chong.
Goodness, what great tension throughout there. And there he leaps off the wall. He is very happy with that. And that last move, actually the whole thing to keep an eye on was that left foot. He drove it in and very carefully able to cross over. That was exciting.
It's always a bit worrying when we see the first athlete flash something that quickly, but it isn't always an indication that the boulder is too easy. It might be, but sometimes that first athlete out, it just could be their style.
Could be their style. As we saw earlier today, I think actually the conditions in the semi-finals had a significant impact on the results. And we saw Yannick Floe coming out first, theoretically not qualifying in a high position, and then dominating for the rest of the round.
Absolutely, he qualified in 19th, Yannick, to come into this final. So Jung Won Chong gets his comp off to the great start. Time you climb it. That is the best score possible. That's what all the athletes will be aiming for. It's easier said than done, though. Do-Yeon Lee, his teammate from South Korea, comes out. He's just 19, but he's had a good run of form. He was 4th in Brixton, 10th in Salt Lake, 10th in South Korea.
I think very exciting. When Jung Won Chong introduced Lee to me, he introduced him as his brother. And for the first time, I was quite confused. It's different names. I didn't question him. But I think I'll get back to the story after we see his attempt.
Yeah, he's coming up towards the zone. Pinches there, you can see the thumb in action, working hard, steps up with the right foot. And this boulder, you've got to say at this moment, if you're a route setter, you're getting a bit nervous because he is cruising these moves, as Jung Won Chong did. Thumb in the hole, that is allowed. Brings the left foot up. Oh, and then slips at the very top.
Oh, he'll be very upset with that. Just not quite the right foot placement. I think actually earlier on, he decided to put that left foot on the higher hold, the one above the starting hand hold, and at the later point in the climb wasn't able to bring it down to the starting hold where Jung Won Chong had his foot, and then that made the match at the end very difficult.
Seemed like a case of doing a little too much there almost, just working a little too hard to get that top.
Often people are saying bring your feet up, but if it's the wrong place, it's not going to work.
So Do-Yeon Lee doesn't get the flash on that boulder, and you can see down on the bottom left that bar that fills all the way up for a top, halfway for a zone. So he's got the zone, and now he's looking to fill that bar all the way to finish things off. So Do-Yeon Lee will rest. He's got the beater now. He's got 2.5 minutes. It's lots of time. Just needs to readjust that foot.
Yeah, I think he'll be feeling quite confident with his performance that first time, and he's just needs to figure out now what to do differently for the top. Is it going to be changing the foot before, or is he going to try the same method again and try to get more pressure on that high foot? Very high risk, and as we've just watched someone else successfully climb the boulder, we'd be thinking the other method might be better.
Yeah, these athletes have no idea what the other athletes have done. They won't know the techniques, they won't know the failures or the successes. They have to work it out for themselves for the first time. So, Do-Yeon Lee, once again, into the last section of this boulder. Quick work. Let's see what he does with that left foot. He needs to match both hands on that final hold. In control. Much better that time.
There it is, going for the same foot placement as Jung Won Chong, and it seemed to work exceptionally well for him.
So, Do-Yeon Lee leaves our arena. Second go for him. Let's watch a replay of that moment. So bumping up to the zone looks easy off that crimp.
Looked easy, incredibly high tension. You can see the left foot is on a very, very poor smear. So much tension through the hands to pull yourself up there. But if that left foot pops off, he is going to go. So such a highly complex movement, even though it does seem quite straightforward.
What we can see from those wonderful shots, how small these holds are. It's sometimes hard to get an impression of how difficult the boulders are until you see what they're actually holding on to.
Yeah, incredibly hard. Climbing now is at such a high, relatively slow for a dry fire. I was a bit worried.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was
a dry fire, big one.
Wow, just from the angle, he missed that entirely. I think he slapped himself in his stomach almost.
It numbs your fingers when that.
A lot of energy if he tried to prepare himself potentially for the later climbs.
That was the move he got himself into. I mean, it's not a position you want to be in, and then had to come right the way under.
And brings that left hand down to go for the match. So impressive.
But look at that adjustment position. He worked it out, knew he wanted to match it. Look, 2 fingers, and it's this back 2 as well on that bottom hold.
Now, though, he's so uncomfortable on that left foot. He doesn't bring it anywhere different to come in, lean across, and as soon as that left hand comes off, the tension goes.
That sunset, him sitting in the spotlight with the crowd behind him, that gave me goosebumps. It really did. Look at that. That's incredible.
Was twisted away from the wall. He thought, I'll try pull with my shoulder and reel all the way in, but he couldn't get that bend, that pull, that direction to the left that you need in order to create this sort of elevator door opening position.
It's worth mentioning that black logo that's on the volume, that has got friction as well. He's not standing on a different part of the wall. It's pretty much the same as the volume, isn't it?
It is bad everywhere.
Very true. So, he's got time. Just under a minute now. Chalks up. No one figuring out the final part of this climb.
I think everyone's come quite close. I think everyone knows what to do, but actually carrying that out is so difficult. We're going to see whether or not it happens right now.
The thing is, even if he gets himself set on and swinging off, you can see, I mean, all right behind Yoshiyuki Ugata. And let's see some of these moments. Zhong Wanchon came close. First athlete out. That was the outrageous move, wasn't it?
Best part of everyone's attempts on the climb, by far. Do love to see something completely outrageous in a bouldering competition. But otherwise, very consistent climbing. You can see everyone's got this such power and tension in their first attempts, and they all got to the zone without much effort. But it does show how difficult these climbs are, as afterwards you can see things start to choose to try this again, or thinks, okay, let's at least have a go at the dynamic method. We're going to find out soon.
I was watching quite closely when they were reading these routes. Great to see. Zhongwen is just blowing off that excess chalk in his hands. And this was the move, and you could see it getting better and better. It's one of those, if he came back and did that a few more times, he'd lock it in. And as the route setter says, once you've got it, it kind of locks in, doesn't it?
It does lock in. I think I talked about this in a previous competition. The neurochemistry, your brain actually has this big flood of dopamine, and it stamps everything your brain was doing at that time, that cerebellum, that little move.
So, Doyon Lee enters the arena once more. Boulder number 3. If you're just joining us, welcome to Innsbruck, Austria. This is the final World Cup boulder of the year for the IFSC. My name is Matt Groove, and I'm joined by Dan and Marky here in the commentary box, and we are watching all of the action here as Doyon Lee launches to the left. Oh no, wow, oh, that's interesting. A bit of both, half static, half dynamic.
Very interesting angle there. It actually looked like he got that right palm on, and then created the upwards movement first. Very different, almost a little bit less of the unknowns.
Oh, come on.
He does the foot method.
Come on.
I was hoping to see a foot go up there. He nearly managed to stick this tiny zone. He's basically putting his fingernails in behind it. So much explosion, yet so precise. He has to find that dead point at the right point. That was incredibly impressive.
Now, look, we talked about that zone. It didn't matter that it was small because they'd have good feet. But using that method, the size of the hold does become important because you're aiming for something small and you've got to hold on to something really tiny.
Yeah, you are trying to kill a lot of momentum that you have just created. And the best way to kill it is by grabbing a hold and squeezing with the fingers. Now, the hold isn't big enough to take so much force.
Well, there you go, popping off it.
So what he's now trying to figure out is how can he jump exactly the right amount so there's as little as force as possible to stop when he grabs that handhold.
I'll be honest here, I don't think this is the right method, but I really want to see him do it again. Like, it's an awesome movement that he's pulling off.
Oh, yes, for sure. The right method is almost always an interpretation. The best description of the right method is the easiest method, and you could argue that the other method is easier. But if it is doable this way, then you're still getting a top.
Absolutely. But when is he going to change it up? He's going to go again, though, matching that hold, springs. Oh, and this time it was on longer. He's looking for purchase with that right foot, dragging it onto the wall with his toe.
Dragging it onto the wall. The key point is where you put the left foot. Incredibly difficult. You want it to be as far out as you can get it because that gives you more angle to lever your body into the wall. Unfortunately, if you put it far out, you're entering that high-risk territory where it could slip.
The fact that our close-up, the whole hand covers the hold, I mean, I don't really need to say anything. It says enough, doesn't it?
That is very, very
micro.
descriptive.
So, Do-Yeon Lee with a minute and a half to go. Might want to think about changing things up here. He's not going to. Oh, and this time he makes it work. Okay, so Do-Yeon Lee is up and established. You heard the crowd. They know what they've just seen. I can't quite get my head around it. So Do-Yeon into the side pull. This is going to jump him way up the board if he can do it. It's not too hard, this, but you need to be precise, and he does get it. Huge moment for Do-Yeon Lee and his competition history. Awesome from him. I mean,
look at that explosion of emotion. So much psych there as he contained himself in these very, very small holds. And then the last move is the root setters came to us and said, it's scary. It's very, very scary. But he didn't give a second's thought. He just knew what he had to do and he committed fully to it.
Yeah, our wall is 4.5 meters up there at the top. That would have been the fall for him. But look, fingers locking off on that. You can see the battered scars on his hand from this competition. Launch left, and he didn't even match before he celebrated.
Knew he had it, and he was very, very happy.
Well, we'll wait to see where that's put him up on the scoreboard. Awesome from Do-Yeon Lee. I don't think anyone would have thought about that method. You saw it.
Yeah, I did believe in it.
So Do-Yeon jumping out. Yeah, you saw it. I did not read that method on that boulder.
It's always an option unless there is some quite advanced blocking or interesting whole design going on. You can always think, okay, maybe I can get a foot up there.
Well, exciting stuff here. Do-Yeon Lee, our second athlete out. We've still got 4 more to go on this boulder. And look at that.
So much intensity. And one of the things we noticed, the intensity, it looks like, though, can't quite tell from here. I believe there isn't texture there.
Oh, look, he actually missed the zone. That's interesting. We didn't really catch that from the... Let's see that again. That was the move. Reach down with the left. And this is where he was always kind of going down. Never looked solid on that. And immediately, look at those eyes, laser-guided back on the hold. And he almost wrote that method off. You could see his thought process.
Get as much friction on his hand as possible and stop that movement. So he's pushing down on these slopey holds. And if you can generate enough friction with the hand, most of the athletes have the strength to...
Fuji. See, blowing the hold, trying to get the excess chalk off the sloper. Let's see which method this was. So the palms out, and then, yeah, that right heel, smart. You can see what he's thinking. It did almost work.
Yeah, get a lot of friction with that heel. Will have needed to have his hips more into the wall in order to make it so.
Check out that scoreboard. Yoshiki Ogata still in second place. Fuji was left in 4th after failing to get that zone on 3. Do-Yeon Lee in first position. So Colin is getting closer to the zone.
This is the same method that Do-Yeon Lee used successfully. Now it's a question, is Colin going to keep trying this? or try something else.
Well, you can see missed that hold. Remember, it's an explosive move into basically a one finger, or two finger at most grab. Crimp on that. So, and that slow motion is a bit unkind because it makes it look like he's missing it by miles, and yet it's half a second, if that, of movement.
Yeah, but he had a pretty good go there. I think he'll be quite confident he can do it this way now.
Look at the pinky wrapping in underneath, almost stacking on top of the two fingers. Look, gets the two, and then that pinky just coming into play underneath.
There we
Yes.
are. Look at that last little twist. You saw this left knee twist in, throw the hips into the right position. That was amazing.
So Colin Duffy, we know this move is doable from this point, but he's got to keep it together. Otherwise, they'll have to repeat that sequence again. One hold closer. Oh, he wants a swap hand. Yeah, that's better. So that's what the root setter's had, the right hand on it. And now he's got a launch left, and he'll take a very deep breath on this moment. There it is. Pings out on a big slip from Colin Duffy. Missed the foot as he went over.
He'll be upset with that. Thought he was done, but it's that breakdown of looking at two things at the same time. You saw him looking at the top. You have to know where you're going at the end of the movement. But that meant he missed the foot, which is the first point of contact he needs to make.
Look at that, his face pressed against the wall. And the second he knew he was on, his eyes flicked towards the left to see where he was going next.
I love this twist of the left knee, that last minute switch to pull the body weight in and stick the foot. That's so amazing to see.
So Colin Duffy jumps up to second place with that zone. If he can get a top, he might be in first. So swaps the hand, jumps it over. Now watch the feet, because he did mess this up a bit. Eyes it up. Swings. This time makes it work, and Colin Duffy tops out. Huge fist bump from him at the top of the wall. We wait for the leaderboard to change, and there it is, confirmation as Colin Duffy in first position as he leaves the stadium, bumping Doyon Lee down into second. Oh, what a boulder.
That was very exciting, and you did prove true that hypothesis of once he does it once, he has it locked in.
It's true.
He did it second time without a bother.
It was there in his body, in his brain. I was worried that he wouldn't be able to get it a second time, but he did. And look at that face positioning.
See the hips pushing left just to get that center of gravity in exactly the right position. That little minute movement is actually so impressive.
You can see looking down at his fingers, and then this was the jump. Springs out.
See the eyes still looking at the foot and then up to the top.
Full commitment from him there as he launches over. And look at this fist pump. So he comes up. Great top from him. Colin Duffy on the top of the wall. Fist bumping to the audience. And there he is. Walk back straight to the brush.
It's so cool to watch. I really, really like it.
So he reckons he might have this. Yoshiyuki Ogata, a couple of minutes left. He's got time. This time he does. Look and then
that.
down.
Just not quite right, but he walked up on that hold and then took a second to find the volume, to find the zone.
What a fight for first position this is proving to be. Like, he had the balancing point. Oh no, he was always going back, wasn't he?
Not quite the balancing point, but very, very close. I won't be surprised if he finds it in the next one or two attempts.
Well, now the pressure starts to play in because he knows the sequence. A minute 40 on the clock. The DJ is ramping up the tension. The crowd is too. Almost right foot sliding down on the dual text, the no-tex surface, as someone pointed out to me it should be called.
Yeah, dual text is the sort of historical term because there was never an issue about touching the non-textured
Yeah, you wouldn't
part.
want to normally, would you?
Yeah, it just didn't happen, and now we are seeing it happen often.
I think I like no-tex.
Look
So he's up.
at that, the precision. He was up there, didn't need to pull hard in his own, he just had it.
Now, will he hand swap? You could do it with the left. No, he decides to go to the right. And now the nerves will be kicking off for him. Leaps, gets it, and watch the leaderboard. Great effort from Yoshiyuki Ogata. We wait for things to change, the confirmation. And that is our crowd as he leaves the arena. Just waiting for things to be updated.
So Yoshiyuki looks like he's in third place now because of the number of attempts. It took him 9 attempts on that boulder. Do-Hyun Lee did it in 8 attempts, and then Colin Duffy, with his amazing ability, did it in 6.
So, our leaderboard at the very top doesn't change. That was the hold he's going to. The finger, almost side-pulling that hold with his finger. He had to get himself set up and ready. And this was the jump over to the left. Awesome from him.
That is definitely his bread and butter. He would have been very confident there.
Yeah, you could see. He just took a breath, looked down at the hold all along, sprung, went up. Awesome from him. Final hold proving to be pretty good to go to. You got to commit to it fully though, and he did. All of them have done. Flying across at the height, very top of our wall.
A lot of psych from every climb. It's very possible we're going to see a big mix-up in that leaderboard, because the next boulder couldn't be more different from that boulder we just watched.
Absolutely, totally different style coming up as we watch the slow motion of the athletes. That man, Colin Duffy, right at the top of the leaderboard, looking for gold.
Currently, Do-Hyun Lee and Yoshiyuki Ogata are separated by 1 zone. So every attempt, even on the first part of this climb, is going to be vital for their positions. Story behind this athlete and his connection to the athlete that just went.
So, presses up. Big jump out sideways.
Looks like not a bother, but you are jumping to a very precise pocket.
Just look at the ability to reset when you miss it. I mean, look, again, look, resetting, not managing to pull it back that time.
Fortunately, it looked like his fingers destabilized in that other pocket. He went with a lot more momentum than Jung Won Chun, which is something that an athlete might choose to do if they're thinking they maybe don't have the power to do this outrageous 1-hour pull-up. So go with the momentum, but that means when you swing out and swing back, it looked like his fingers destabilized a bit and came off.
So, Do-Hyun Lee is down in 3rd. Jung Won Chun jumped up to 1st position. Of course, all the athletes have yet to climb, so that might change. But if no one does it, Jung Won Chun's winning a World Cup. So, pressing up. That jump, it's blind into that pocket.
Yeah, there's lots of different tactics in terms of visualizing it in the space, but we're jumping to a pocket you can't see.
So Jung Won Do-Hyun Lee gets set, kicking up to try to get a bit of momentum, and it worked.
Does find it.
So that's 3 fingers in the pocket. Now needs to do the same thing again, find the momentum, because every time he stops, he loses it. But it's very climbable from this position as he presses into the yellow sloper.
Do-Hyun Lee now one of the few athletes with 2 tops before. Put him in a very good position if he does get to the top here.
He's got just under 2 minutes to get this done. This was the swinging. Trying to create that momentum. That's the first blind jump.
Do you see, actually, the hand got the bad part and corrected to the good part. So interesting.
That thumb on the friction. Matched again. I mean, stacking your fingers up is going to be painful. That, not much you care in that moment, but it would hurt, that move. Swinging. And then the second he got in there, he just breathed, pressing in. But watch his feet.
Yeah, this is a very high tension position, so much power required, and we've seen the athletes slipping off on bad foothold as they're trying to pull so hard with the arms. It is a question now of who still has the energy left to do these moves.
So he leaps again, making that blind jump look easier and easier. He'll have got the distance locked in. Iron cross, the swing to face the audience.
Wow, very well learned there.
So this is where Do-Hyun, I don't know what happened. He just maybe lost focus. I don't know, but that right sloper got in this time. Matches with the feet, and it's that foot movement that's sending him down.
Foot movement, it looked like he put his hand in his head. Something just broke down in the movement there, because I think he thinks he has the strength to do it right now. And needs to make it happen.
Look at that, knuckles blooded and bruised from his efforts on the wall. These athletes walk away from all of these comps so scarred and bruised and battered.
It's always funny when the best hold on the wall at that time is your own hand.
Yes, it's very true. You question your life decisions at that point. So swinging backwards, he goes again. 19 seconds, he's got to be really quick here. Time is ticking. Iron cross, swing to face the audience. Locks in, 12 seconds, 10. He'll be facing the clock at this moment. He knows what he's got to do. I don't think it's going to be enough time, you know. 6, 5, it's counting him down, and that is the end of Do-Yeon Lee's final. But he is in first position with that zone.
It'll be a question of the number of attempts that it took him to get there, which is going to leave him quite excited as he sits down with his brother and gets to watch the rest of the competition.
2 fingers in it. Oh, look, he did that swing on 2 fingers. Come on.
He needs the third.
He needs the third. It barely fits anyway. So Do-Yeon Lee sitting in the hot spot. He's on the sofas on the side of the stage watching on. Let's take a breath here. Coming down, look, eyes locked on the hold all the way down. So Do-Yeon Lee, his night is done, and now it's in the hands of the other athletes. Fourth place at the moment. Up, misses the edge of it, too low.
Just a bit too low. Looked like he matched the first hold. He could lean back and try to visualize where it was, but didn't have. He could probably only see the bottom edge of that yellow hold and didn't quite visualize where the pocket was, how far up that was. You saw him walk back and jump to make sure, okay, the pocket is 10 centimeters up from the bottom, and he made use of that information.
Yeah, corrected immediately there. Chalks up straight away. And now Colin Duffy starts his swing, adjusting on coming out. And look, they all want to do it in one, but power required for that.
As he controls the swing with just one arm.
And again, back to the arm, always locked off. Now he straightens it, kicks with the feet to get him in, locks it, and then gets the side pull. A bump out to the sloper now for Colin Duffy, in the left hand fired off again. And you can see the reaction from him. He knows he's got to climb this thing fast, and he was right in there on the final sequence. Watch those left fingers. He adjusted once, looked back at his hand, and that's when it fired off.
That's the second time tonight, and you can see that yell, that disruption. It's actually, you can always tell if the joint, the hand, fires off very quickly, then it's not a problem of his strength. It's a breakdown in the friction that was happening right there, because his muscles were all tensing so much, so when they explode out, they weren't tensing any more or less than the second before, and there's the friction that went.
So Colin Duffy has to have a rethink here. He came close. He's got 2 minutes. Let's hope he's got something left in the tank as he sets himself up again for this jump. Into the left pinch. Nerves afraid here in the audience. Matches beautifully this time. Has that perfectly. And now this is it. He'll probably stop. He tried to do it in one of the first time. Similar sequence. Drops that, chalks up mid-swing.
Has to. It's the only way to look as amazing as you possibly can.
Showboating for us. Right, he won't want another dry fire though. Bumps the left hand. It'll be in his mind. He looks back at that hold, hoping it doesn't pop on him. Left foot. Oh, and there's a left foot. He is in first.
There's little pops, but every attempt right now is creeping him closer to the number of attempts Yoshiyuki Ogata has, and that is putting Yoshiyuki in a very good place to get first if he can get up this boulder quickly.
Yeah, Yoshiyuki will be waiting backstage. You'll hear the audience cheering. He won't know. But yeah, Colin Duffy needs to get this done to put the pressure on Yoshiyuki Ogata. He goes again, 50 seconds. Oh, falls on that start hold. Needs to go quick now, 45 on the clock. Can Colin keep it together? Almost misses, but doesn't. Bumps the left hand, 36 seconds. Now he swings, same sequence is exactly the same. Chalks up, makes sure he's got it, locks it off, matches, and then kick off with the legs. Drives his right foot into the sloping hold. Pumps out. Now we've seen a left hand pop, we've seen a left foot pop. Can he keep it together this time? There's that offending left, better from him. Drops in.
Close.
He's going to go to the crimp. There is the top in sight. Colin Duffy, this could be a play for the gold. Out with the right hand, just needs to match with 8 seconds to go. Does in slow motion to keep us hanging. Colin Duffy with 5 seconds on the clock, finishes things off. And now the pressure is put on Yoshiyuki Ogata.
It looks like Yoshiyuki has to do this climb in less than 2 attempts if he wants first place. Don't quote me on that, but it is looking like Yoshiyuki Ogata has a lot of pressure right now.
Right, all to play for. Colin Duffy waits. This was his send, and it was amazing how he did the same movements throughout the boulder.
So amazing. And I love this as he goes out to the Iron Cross. Coming through, he chalks up, and he intentionally does that because of the fire he made out of the pocket before. And so he's correcting for this mistake. He's making sure, I'm going to chalk up now so that this fire isn't going to happen again.
Yeah, awesome sequences there. So, Colin Duffy climbs himself into a good position. All to play for as our final athlete faces the final boulder. We are close to the climax of this evening's entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've been enjoying it. We certainly have here. And that was the reaction. Oh, it was close. So that could be the end of the gold here at this moment. And look, Colin senses that as well.
Everyone is looking around wondering, is that it? Is it official? Has it happened? We need confirmation. Will appeals come through? What's going to happen?
He's facing out again. Route reading being the key here tonight, and makes it second go. So Yoshiyuki begins going right, matches in. Look at that, so smooth from him. Oh, if this works out the way I think it is, he's going to be devastated at the end of this comp. Oh, but he falls. But look at that change in the leaderboard into third position for Yoshiyuki Ogata. And Colin Haley realizes what's happened here. He has just got his gold medal. And he's getting handshakes all round. That is your gold medalist.
He is. He doesn't know what to do, standing up. Very, very happy climber.
I mean, immediately, that's fair play to that man, because immediately started shouting encouragement.
I think he's only now really realizing. I don't think it's set in yet.
It hasn't, and he doesn't want to give it away to Ogata as well on stage. I mean, Yoshiyuki, I mean, we're watching here a man climb. I mean, he's still in third. Right, here we go again, facing in, making that trickier method work. Out he goes into an iron cross.
So casual through that movement.
Locks in. So he comes out now, matching the horrible pocket. Out he comes into the slope at feet out right. Matches underneath. There's the crimp. One move away for Yoshiyuki Ogata. Oh, but he loses the left
Another
foot.
slip. Now he will want that second position, and if he does not get to the top of this boulder, he won't have it.
So Yoshiyuki Ogata in third. And yeah, it was just a full slip there with the right foot, I think. What a competition this has been. Coming up to 9:30 at night here in Innsbruck. And that's the signal we know for the brush. It's got about 1 minute on the clock now. And the lead semi-finals in the evening. Lead finals on Sunday. Let's check out some of the action that we witnessed here this evening. What moments of drama out on the stage here tonight. All of our athletes giving it everything. That was the final boulder that we saw here tonight. And it did come down to that final boulder. So Colin Duffy with the victory. Let's see some of his moments from this competition. That's how much it meant to him. And you saw Brooke Rabatou and Natalia Grossman down in the audience wiping away tears. They'll be in action tomorrow. Colin Duffy, just fantastic out there. Pleasure to watch him climb here this evening. He's a quiet man, keeps himself to himself, very focused. And we'll be hearing from him in a couple of seconds. We just wait for everything to get set up. Colin Duffy.
In a couple of seconds.
Very unique in the movements and styles that we saw. And some outrageous moments as well.
Well, let's enjoy some of Colin's efforts up there on the wall.